Season 2 for Cold War Zombies has completely shaken up the meta with the addition of tier 5 upgrades, which you can unlock by earning new Ethereum crystals within zombies. But I've gone ahead and done all the hard work for you, grinding and unlocking enough crystals to upgrade every perk to tier 5 to show you gameplay of every single one, the differences between the tier 3, and if there's any perks that you should now avoid or previous ones you avoided that should now be used. If you're going to enjoy this video, let me know by dropping a thumbs up. I'd love to know in the comment section below which perk has impressed you the most with these tier 5 upgrades. Just before we get into it, shameless plug, my sponsor G Fuel has bumped my code Dalek to 30% off everything from now until the end of February. So if you're planning any late night zombie grinds, make sure you have some G Fuel by your side to keep you energized. You can check it out with the link in the description. And let's jump into the perks, and we'll start off with easily one of the most interesting to me, which is tier 5 stamina. Now we already know that stamina increases your run and sprint speed, but tier 5 takes this to a whole new level. So I wanted to do some testing between tier 3 and tier 5 stamina up to see just how much difference there is, as tier 5 completely removes the sprint speed fall off, which means over time your sprinting speed will become slower. So I jumped into a game of Outbreak with my friend Deck, and we're going to do some sprint tests across this parking lot to see just how fast you are without stamina, with tier 3 stamina, and then with tier 5. So if we start this sprint test here, I'm going to be starting on the very edge of the parking lot. And I'm going to sprint towards this little patch of snow that's on the other side right here. And as you can see from the timer, it took 10.12 seconds in order to do that sprint. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy myself stamina up. And just to show you, this is indeed tier 5 stamina. And we're going to be showing you this compared to tier 3. So here's me and my friend Deck. We're lined up again, and starting the sprint again, you'll notice I'm immediately faster, and we'll see how much quicker this is. So in total, it only took us 7.56 seconds to get across the parking lot. So now comparing this to tier 3 stamina to see if there really is much of a speed difference, you'll notice that on this test, we actually completed with tier 3 at 8.28 seconds. So not too different. And then if we do a direct sprint right next to each other, you'll see that eventually I take over and actually get there a little bit quicker. And that is where the tier 5 ability of the sprint fall off not being a thing really comes into effect. As you can see here, this is the perspective of my friend, and I just completely outrace him. And you'll notice if we look at the mini map to see just how far away I am, you can sprint infinitely like you always could with stamina, but the longer you sprint, the further away I get from my friend with tier 3 stamina, showing you just how much faster you sprint with this thing. It is absolutely incredible, and to me makes this an almost guaranteed perk you need to use, because it is just incredible how fast you move with this thing. The tier 4 ability on stamina is also absolutely incredible and a game changer in my opinion, as it allows you to use equipment while sprinting. One of the worst parts of Cold War Zombies, especially with monkey bombs, is when you prime a monkey bomb, you go from a sprint to a very slow walk, and this has cost me a lot of downs over the last few weeks and months of playing the game. But with this new ability, you can continue your sprint at the exact speed you were at and cook the monkey bomb, and this is invaluable in my opinion. Overall, this upgrade is absolutely incredible. Moving on to Juggernog tier 5, and this perk has just become even more useful than it already was, as tier 4 reduces your armor damage, meaning you lose your armor less quickly, which is fantastic. But tier 5 adds a Dying Wish ability that we saw in Black Ops 4, where instead of going down on a lethal hit, your armor will be depleted and your health reduced to 1, and you'll hear the Juggernog jingle play in the background, which will essentially save you from going down. The only problem with this is that I found it's very inconsistent. There's no visible change to the perk icon on your HUD to show if you have this ability ready, if it's just been used or not, but a lot of the times this doesn't always activate when it should. And I don't know if that's me misunderstanding what the description of this perk tier is supposed to do, or that there is some sort of in-game timer that keeps track on how long it's been since you previously used that ability. And I'm sure that this ability doesn't actually work until you're in a much higher difficulty level on Outbreak or a higher round in Zombies, due to the fact that you will actually need armor in order for this ability to activate, because it depletes your armor instead of your HP going down to 0. So in my opinion, in theory, it's very useful, but in practice, it doesn't work as easily as you'd expect it to. But combined with its tier 4 ability, there's no reason not to go for this. And the tier 5 ability complements Quick Revive incredibly well, because Quick Revive will make make your health regen quicker. And if you're stuck on 1 HP, you'll definitely want to start regenning quick. So speaking of quick revive, let's talk about its new abilities, which are absolutely incredible. The tier 4 ability almost seems better to me than the tier 5 ability, where tier 4 grants you and a downed player that you revive a quick movement speed boost for a limited time. And let me tell you, you can see it on screen. Holy moly, that is an insane burst of speed. In a normal game of zombies, when you're going to revive someone, you're gonna have a massive train behind you ready to swipe you or swiping you as you're doing the revive. So this is an incredible addition. And if you thought this was insane on its own, combining it with tier 5 stamina up is just the fastest movement speed you'll have in the entire game. Forget using vehicles and Outbreak, just use this to get around the map. It is unbelievable. Now, if you thought tier 4 quick revive was good, tier 5 is absolutely insane. It adds the ability of self-medication from Black Ops 3, which is one of the strongest gobblegums in the game, and I'm so glad to see it return in this form as a perk. It's amazing, where if you go down, you can revive yourself by simply getting a kill in your down state, pretty much doing what quick revive would do on solo. If you go down with quick revive and have a self-revive, you have the option of either using the self-revive or just shooting a zombie to get back up, and if you do that, you will still keep your self-revive, which is awesome. And it goes one step better if you're playing on solo, because if you don't have a self-revive and you go down with quick revive, you will not die and the game won't end. You'll be in a downed state, just like if you were using quick revive on solo in the old Black Ops Zombies games, and if you get a kill, you will be revived. No self-revive kit needed. You will unfortunately lose your quick revive if you do get a kill and use that as your method to bring yourself back up, but absolutely incredible. And if you combine this with a ray gun, if you have it in your loadout and you go down, you'll have the ray gun to use, and that will be very easy for you to get a kill, so you can get yourself back up and you will lose hardly any of your perks. The next tier 5 upgrade we'll look at is Elemental Pop, which has a major buff to elemental damage at tier 4, which basically means you're going to get more damage done with those ammo mods that are used, so that's always useful. Elemental Pop has never seemed like a very useful perk because you can just get an ammo mod and it will activate more often, but the tier 5 upgrade does add a very interesting new ability, which is Electric Cherry. If you reload your weapon, you will have a little spark of electricity come out, just like Electric Cherry. And if you reload your weapon after its magazine being fully depleted, it will let out a maximum damage Electric Cherry shockwave, just like it always did. And this is actually really useful. If you get trapped in a corner, for example, you can just quickly reload or, you know, pop off all your shots to try and get rid of the zombies, and on that maximum damage, fully empty magazine reload, it should be enough to get you out of that sticky situation. I'm still not convinced if this is enough of a reason to use Elemental Pop, as some of the new tier 5 ammo mods are just so insane that you wouldn't want to randomize your ammo mod and when it gets used. But on a mode like Outbreak, you're eventually going to get all the perks for free from random objectives anyway, so you might as well use it. So not a bad update to it by any means, but in my opinion, still not that useful. Tier 5 Deadshot Daiquiri is fantastic, where tier 4 will give you a 10% critical damage increase, which is always a good thing. You know, doing more damage is welcome inside of zombies. But tier 5 will give you a consecutive hit bonus, which is really, really good against elite enemies that require multiple hits. And in this clip example, you can see me headshotting a split Megaton, and you can see that every time I get the numbers appear for the headshot damage, you can see that it appears like 2 or 3 times, which means I'm getting a bonus, meaning you'll take down elite enemies even quicker than you did before. So I definitely think this is a great buff to Deadshot Daiquiri. Now, normally we say we've left the best till last, but unfortunately we've left the worst till last. Tombstone Soda. It gets 2 major changes in its tiers, but unfortunately it's just still not very good. So Tier 5 of Tombstone Soda allows your perks to not decay when down. I'm sure all of you are aware of how perks work when you get down in Cold War Zombies. When you go down, you lose at least 3 of your perks pretty much straight away. Tombstone Soda Tier 5 makes it so that those perks that decay slowly whilst you're downed don't decay whatsoever, which seems like a good thing, but in general, if you go down, you've lost perks regardless of how slowly or quickly you were revived. 5, so I don't really see the benefits of this tier 5 whatsoever, because using this and losing no perk decay means that you'll lose Tombstone every time you go down. I really thought that this tier 5 upgrade was going to make Tombstone a game changer and a perk that you should actually use, but sadly it's still just as useless as it was when it was first introduced. And tier 4 is even weirder, where it lets you respawn near the end of the round instead of the beginning of the next, but every time I tried to test this, it never worked. When I was spectating my friend after I bled out, it just said that I was respawning in the next round. I never actually respawned in near the end of the current round, which is an ability that you could use in Black Ops 3 via a gobble gum. And the other benefit is that the respawn times are reduced by 50%, and this is only useful inside of Outbreak mode. If you go down in Outbreak, you have to wait 60 seconds with your other teammates alive in order for you to be redeployed. But with this, it actually only takes about 15 seconds or so for you to come back. What makes this confusing is when you're spectating, it still says you're back in 60 seconds. It doesn't say like 15 seconds or 30 seconds. You'll just be spectating and you'll randomly just come back at some point. It's a shame that Tombstone is so loved by the community prior to it coming back into Cold War Zombies, but unfortunately, it's still just as useless as it was, so definitely don't recommend you buying this. That about wraps up everything you need to know about the tier 5 perks and their gameplay changes. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments. It took ages to record this, also a like would be super appreciated as well. On your screen now is a link to my ultimate guide to Outbreaks. If you guys need any help with it, please go ahead and click that video. Spent ages on it. It's an awesome video and YouTube is showing you it right now, telling you to watch it. So go over there and I'll see you in just a few moments. If you love zombie posters, I have an incredible Cold War Zombies poster that's just launched that you can grab via the link in the description. It is a full-on movie-sized poster, double-ended, with Park in D Machina and Samantha Maxis in the Dark Ether. You can have it up whichever way you want. It looks fantastic. If you want to grab one, there is a link in the description, along with my Cold War Zombies perk poster pack that now contains the Tombstone perk as well. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.